Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, look, this is going to be a informal talk. Just want to thank everyone for coming out today to celebrate our city manager, Angel Jones, coming to Portsmouth. And later on in the discussion, you'll know why I was so excited. I'll share it with you, but stay tuned. You'll have to hang around to hear that part. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank Curtis Lyons and his staff here at Roger Brown's Restaurant and Sports Bar for putting together a wonderful meal. Someone asked me, was I going to eat? And when I looked at the fried chicken and the shrimp, I said, my gosh, I need to eat, but I'm just going to hold off a little bit, okay? But thank you, Curtis, and your team for putting together such a wonderful meal. Also, I want to take a moment to thank and recognize our elected officials for being here today. I see my friend, State Senator L. Louise Lucas, President pro tempore of the Virginia Senate. Thank you, Senator Lucas, for being here. I also see my former colleague, Miss Elizabeth Simmons, back there. Are there any other elected officials in the room that I may have? Oh, there's my friend. I'm sorry, Frankie. I don't have my glasses on. There's no excuse, though. My good friend, our Commissioner of the Revenue, Frankie Edmondson. Now on to our friends at the Chamber, Hampton Roads Chamber. Brian Stevens and his team. Brian? If you don't know, or if you've never heard, that Brian is unapologetically pro-business. And that's for real. So thank you, Brian and team, for being here. I thought I saw Doug Smith in the room with the Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance. Doug? Yes, right. Good to see you, Doug. Also, the Portsmouth Partnership. Stephen Corving, I believe, is the current president of the partnership. Thank you guys for being here. Old Town Business Association. Are you guys here in the house? I saw some of the folks at the OTBA. Thank you for being here. The African American Chamber of Commerce Black Brand with Blair Durham. I didn't know if Blair was here. Our very own Department of Economic Development. Is Robert and his team in the house? Also want to thank our other city department heads who are here. Mr. Bob Baldwin, who is our Director of Planning. Also, Deputy City Manager, Director of Marketing, Mr. Lavoris Pace. And all of our city staff, our team that's doing the video for this program. Want to thank you guys for being here as well. Hopefully I did get everybody, but if I didn't, charge it to my head and not my heart, okay? So, what brings us all here today? Probably not because you want to look at me. The purpose of all of us being here today is to begin the process of reconnecting our tribal leaders to building a better Portsmouth that is inclusive and focused on business retention and growth, understanding that relationships are the core of what makes progress possible. And before I asked a few people to come up and talk to you about why they're here in Portsmouth and why they brought their business to Portsmouth, I'd just like to take a moment to talk a little bit about that whole thing of tribal leaders. In his book, The Coming Job Wars, James Clifton talks about how cities are the important links to success in America, and that's true. And when he talks about that, he talks about cities creating innovation and entrepreneurship, which ultimately creates jobs, and it creates opportunities for folks like you and me. And it also, most importantly, creates revenue for our locality so that we can do the things that we wish to do. So when you hear me talk about that bold new direction, what I'm really saying to each and every one of you, the business leaders, the business owners, the tribal leaders in this community that have done the work and that will continue to do the work to make our community strong. I'm talking about a new focus. And that new focus is about reconnecting, recommitting, revitalizing, and restoring our place in the Hampton Roads region. And I think that's something you all should get excited about. Before we can begin to talk about the future, however, I want to talk to you a little bit about our past. And some of you may recognize this organization, but when people talk about where Portsmouth was and where it might be going, I like to look at history because I think in a lot of ways, history can be a predictor of your future performance. So let me just share this with you, because what we're experiencing coming out of this pandemic probably is the first time event we've ever experienced, but it is not the only event that Portsmouth has ever experienced in this way. Having seen a tremendous influx of workers and jobs as the war effort ramped up, city leaders feared a mass exodus at the war's end. In response, individuals created the Portsmouth Industrial Foundation in March of 1948 with a twofold purpose: to attract new manufacturing business to Portsmouth and to attract and retain small and medium-sized businesses by providing loans. A fundraising campaign raised $250,000 to fuel this effort. The Portsmouth Industrial Foundation advertised widely that it would provide the closest thing to a turnkey agreement for an interested manufacturer. It would generally assist in the location of new industrial concerns in the greater Portsmouth area. What was not to love? The first to respond was the EZ Thread Company, which broke ground on its 25,000 square foot manufacturing facility in July of 1949 and planned to employ 400 people. Others were to follow, and city managers from as far as Boston, Roanoke, Minneapolis, and Salinas, California, wrote to inquire about the innovative new program. Many smaller businesses needed small loans to establish themselves in the city or to expand their operations. Accordingly, over the next 40 years, the Portsmouth Industrial Foundation made over $2.5 million in loans to over 35 businesses, several of which are in operation today. All told, the organization produced hundreds of jobs and hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of tax revenue for the city of Portsmouth. Now, the reason I share that story, certainly those were times then, and perhaps as we look back on those times, the time that we are in now is very similar. We are coming out of a pandemic. We are looking to improve our economic development and retain the businesses that are here. But what I want you to take away from that brief story is it was you all that did it. It wasn't city government. Government is not here to create the businesses, to create the entrepreneurs, to innovate. That's your job. But what we are here to do is to facilitate your innovation, to facilitate your entrepreneurship, and not make it difficult for you and others to do business. And that's what this is all about today. As we look to our future, we must be more inclusive. We must ensure that small women and minorities and other businesses compete, because we know what that means. When everybody is at the table, everybody wins. And that's really what this is all about. So I want to thank you all for listening to that brief history. And I want to encourage you and challenge you. You are the tribal leaders, each one of you. And a friend was talking to me the other day. He said, you know, Shannon, Portsmouth is a great city. And we all have heard it, right? Portsmouth is a great place to live. It's a great city, you know, all this good stuff. But you know what? I think to a large degree, some of our tribal leaders forgot that. And always remember that if we are to be better, it's going to be because you guys are driving it together. So let's give yourselves a round of applause and let's look forward to our future. This is the most important part. The next three individuals you're going to hear from are businesses here in Portsmouth. And I thought it was really important that you hear from them and not from me. Why they either chose to come back to Portsmouth, located their business in Portsmouth, and what they see as the future in the city of Portsmouth. And we'll start out with Mr. Chris Shelton. Chris, come on up, Chris.
Stairs, but good thing I'm still young enough to climb them. Hi everyone, I'm Chris Shelton. I am co-owner of Cure Coffee House. We've been open in Norfolk for a little over 10 years, and Smithfield was our second location. In 2017 we opened that, and here in 2021, proud to announce we're going to be opening our third location and our main headquarters. Frankly, we're trying to scale this operation up. Coming out of the pandemic, who the heck thought we would have been able to say that? But here we are today. Mayor Glover wanted me to express my thoughts on why we chose Portsmouth, and that story is far longer than the 5 minutes he's allotted me. So as I'm thinking through how that journey got us here today, I could go back as far as January when I stepped into Bloom just to check out the space and talk to Michelle. Told her we were looking for space somewhere in Hampton Roads. Phoebus was a good choice for us at the time. And she said, well, what about these spaces right next door? Used to be Copper and Oak. And so we started down that path, and here we are. So I could give her all the credit, or I could also go back further. Thank you, Michelle. Seriously. I could go back further. My friends Max and Casey, who I met in 2016, who really showed us the vibrancy and diversity, really, of downtown businesses. It's not just retail, it's also tech companies, right? So there's room for all of us. Or I could go further back to when I first moved to Portsmouth. I grew up in Smithfield, spent most of my early 20s in Norfolk, having gone to ODU, moved to Portsmouth at around 27, in with a roommate, got to know the area, got to know how convenient it is to get anywhere else in Hampton Roads from here. How fun it is to go downtown. It's, just a lot of vibrancy here that is under-celebrated, frankly, and under-celebrated by a lot of us who are here in the city, right? So I could go back, to when I moved here and just saw so much opportunity that is, kind of underappreciated. And here we are today, opening our third location, and I'm just so excited about the abundancy of opportunity right here in Portsmouth. It is, to anybody who's looking elsewhere in Hampton Roads to grow your business, I say take another look, and yet another look here at Portsmouth, because I'm telling you, the economics are ripe. This place is primed. The pump is primed. If it hasn't ever been before, it is absolutely primed today. For us to catch up to the peers around Hampton Roads, if not the country, and then far succeed it, right? So let's give a big round of applause to all of the business owners, all the dignitaries, and all of the city government personnel here today, and let's celebrate our progress moving forward. Big round of applause. Thank you. Great to be here.
Careful. Don't get injured now. Okay. That's right. We want to make sure that you're healthy. This next guy, I had an opportunity to meet him a couple years ago, and he was renting a space here in the city of Portsmouth, and he kept saying to me, I want to buy a building in Portsmouth. I want to keep my business in Portsmouth. And I said, okay. And then one day he calls me, says, I bought the building, and here's where it is, and the rest is history. I love this guy. He's a hard-working guy. He has an awesome story. Walter Howell.
Thank you, Mayor Glover, for allowing me to be here. I'd like to say hello to everyone. My name is Walter Howell, and this is my better half, Maria Suarez Howell. Could you please stand, honey, please? And without her, none of this is possible. And so she's the boss. I just work there. So together we run Impact Mental Health Services, and we've been in Portsmouth for since 2014. We began our office building was right here on London Street. Within well, it was within 6 months we had to move to another location because growth was that good. We left there and went to 3303 Airline Boulevard, where we built out a 4,200 square foot office building there in that plaza. We was there 12 months and was outgrowing the space. We could not, and I kept saying to my wife, and I kept saying to Mr. Glover, who I had met, I was not willing to continue to put money down a rabbit hole, and I knew that we needed a larger space. So we hired an agent and ended up looking at a space, and it was the old Oasis building that's on 3603 County Street. It's a 10,000 square foot building. We purchased it in 2017, and we began the process of developing that building. And at this point, we are fully developed, and we have over 90 employees that work throughout the Tidewater area. We are servicing the entire Tidewater area. We provide a multitude of services throughout the city. You know, as I go back, one of the things that brought me to Portsmouth many years ago, and I've been in mental health for over 30 years, and my initial office was in Chesapeake. And just like the gentleman before me, I thought about where could I be that would be the most impact, but would also have the ability to reach the persons that are in most need, right? And I'm talking about your throwaway people, people who are the unmentionables, who are the homeless, right? Who don't have a voice, those that are not spoken for, the individuals that are marginalized and are taken advantage of, and yet they have a mental health disorder, right? And a lot of the times people misunderstand what that looks like or how that presents. And so I said, Portsmouth. And this was at the time when Portsmouth had put up the tolls, and a lot of individuals was like, I don't know if you really want to go over there. And I was like bound and determined. I said, no, right? I'm gonna follow my intuition. And so we began here in Portsmouth, and at this point, we're in a 10,000 square foot building, well over 90 employees. We're looking for a second location. And I came here because you can get to anywhere in Hampton Roads from Portsmouth in less than 15 minutes, right? I can shoot the Newport News in a flash. I can be in Norfolk in 5 minutes. I can be in Virginia Beach in 15 minutes. I can be in Hampton in 20 minutes if I'm driving really fast. I try not to, but if I'm driving really fast, I can get there in 20 minutes. So, with that being said, it was also the need for us to have a central hub. And so we offer, as I said before, an array of services. We offer anything from SA intensive outpatient services, that's substance abuse services. We offer mental health for adults, for adolescents, and for children as well. We provide an array of services through the Department of Human Services, through the city of Suffolk, through the city of Virginia Beach, through the city of Norfolk. And we've been doing this for well over 30 years. And, you know, through God's grace, I was able to open up this industry, this business 7 years ago, and now here we are. And so a lot of people say, well, how did you get into doing this, right? So here's my story. My father was a psychiatric nurse. My mother worked for the VA Medical Center for 45 years on a substance abuse treatment center. My favorite aunt, who is paranoid schizophrenic, was the first person I ever saw with an afro, was the first person I ever saw with a dashiki. She was the first person to introduce me to a college campus. She was the first person I know to travel abroad, right? She was an athlete. In her mid-20s, she had a psychotic break, okay? And so that was my favorite person that I've ever known and I'd ever seen, and have all of those experiences. Little did I know that God was preparing me in my path then to do what I'm doing at this point. I had no idea. as a young man, I didn't want to, you're young, you don't want to do things your parents do, right? They don't like that, And so my kids now say, no, Dad, I don't want to work in your industry, your business. That's too hard. I'm like, okay, suit yourself. I didn't want to do it either, right? But little did I know, I was prepared to do the things that I do. And so I know most of our clients. I'm what they call a foot soldier. The homeless persons, I go and meet them, right? I try to make sure that they have a place to stay. We've used our own monies to make sure that we've housed over 50 some odd residents in the city of Portsmouth who were once homeless, who are now stable, thriving in the community, and doing well for themselves, okay? And so I really enjoy doing that from our heart. We're also working with the school systems to help them get the children who are at risk and getting them stable in the community. And a lot of individuals look at the circumstance that we are faced with at this moment coming out of this pandemic. And at some point, we have all been faced with some level of depression, some level of anxiety, some level of circumstances that has impacted our lives. At this very moment, the pandemic has changed the way that we do every single thing. And I would have never thought that that would have happened. However, we rearranged ourselves, right? We recommitted ourselves. We directed our efforts, right? We refocused our energy, and we still thrive today. So thank you for allowing me to present. Enjoy your day.
One of the things that is critically important is that small business is the backbone of any community. When you look at all these storefronts and all the businesses that are operating in the city of Portsmouth, they're the folks that are doing the work to pay the bills, and we're grateful to have them here. Our next speaker, I shared with her when I first walked into her business, is that she's in the beauty business. People think that taking care of, our female population is an easy job, but having grown up with three sisters, I can tell you it's not. And my mother was a hairdresser, so they all had to get their hair done by my mom. And so that was always an interesting feat on a Saturday morning. But in any event, Miss Crystal Campaign, owner of Studio. Okay. Owner of Studio CK Salon.
All right, hello, how's everybody doing? I recognize a lot of people here. My name is Crystal Kempinen, as he said. And my friends call me Chrissy. I have a salon here on High Street. I'm going to be neighbors with the Cure. And we came back to Portsmouth. I've lived near about everywhere in Portsmouth. I'm from Portsmouth. My family still lives here. And so when I left in 1991, I opened a local franchise in Great Bridge. I had that for 20 years. I had 2 salons out there. And then a friend of mine, and everyone in this room probably knows, Leanne Amory Wallace. And she kept calling me to ask me to purchase the One Crawford salon. I'd driven past that salon my whole life and always wanted to go in and look at it and never did. And I ended up buying it. So that's where we had our second location. We had 2 in Great Bridge, and we started that one here. We shut one down there, opened this one. Needless to, I did not know at the time, but that was going to be a catalyst to me moving back to Portsmouth and now live on High Street. And I actually bought my building there, and I live above it. So I really enjoy being back in Portsmouth. I love Portsmouth. My whole life, I feel like I've had to defend it, and everybody knows what I mean whenever you tell me you live in Portsmouth. But once they come here, and I've been able to introduce a lot of people from Great Bridge, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, when they come see me, they go, this is the cutest place. It's really one of the best kept secrets. And so when I go anywhere and I say something about Portsmouth and someone starts to say something negative, I'm like, tread lightly. I live there. Tread lightly. So, but once they come, most of the time when I talk to them, once they come, they go, this is really amazing. There's a lot of amazing people here. I'm excited for the future of Portsmouth. Welcome, Mrs. Jones. I'm excited for you. I love your name. I said, we need one. Say hey. I said that to Mayor Glover. But I'm excited for all the change. The pandemic was a little scary. I don't know if y'all remember, but I was one of the first groups that they shut down. And so I didn't know what we were going to do. I have the gift of working with my oldest daughter, and we have a great little place. And she looked at me because I'm the fearless leader. Like, what are we gonna do? I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I was like, give me 24 hours. You know what I mean? Like, we figured it out, and we did. We got assistance from the PPP loans. We got assistance from Virginia grants, and some people here are the ones that introduced me to those things. I didn't even know what was going on. So we are thriving, I'm glad to say, and growing by leaps and bounds. And I've been in business for 23 years. I've been a stylist for 33 years. And this is my absolute favorite place. It's my favorite location. And I'm thrilled to be back here. And anybody knows if I go anywhere, I'm assaulting everybody. I need a nail salon. We need a dog groomer. We need all these things. So I'm a fan. And on the tails of the amazing patio porches and gardens tour, thank you, Civic League. I am looking forward to Portsmouth blossoming as well. Thank you.
You know, that's what makes what I do so easy and rewarding. Meeting good people in our city who love our city, that is what's going to bring us back, and I'm just looking forward to the future. So, we have come to the point in our program where it is my esteemed honor and pleasure to introduce to you our city manager, Angel Jones. Now, before Ms. Jones comes up to speak, I have to share something with this group, okay? You all know we had a little contention there choosing our city manager, right? Did you all know about that? Well, in any event, when I look through the applications, and I think I can say this, you know, we're not in a closed session, but when I looked through the information and I looked at these folks that we were going to choose perhaps for our city manager, when I came to Angel Jones, I said, that's going to be my city manager. And let me tell you why I made that decision. Most of you know I'm in the benefits business. I deal with people every day. And I read a lot of resumes and I deal with a lot of clients. And what struck me about Angel outside of everybody else, she was bold enough to put a cover letter. Okay. And I say bold because the other folks, they either weren't bold enough or they didn't think about it, right? Here's what she said. With a stellar track record in leading complex, full government organizations and operations, it is with great enthusiasm, now you all know I like enthusiasm, that I submit my letter of interest for the city manager position of Portsmouth, Virginia. Upon review, you will recognize that my innovative strategies are exactly what this great city needs to lead it to the next level. It gets better. Throughout my career, I have contributed effective leadership to the financial stability and operational success of multiple government agencies, whether challenged to find innovative and creative solutions to address declining revenues, identify and implement organization process efficiencies, or utilize technology to work smarter and not harder. I mean, who does that, right? I have consistently delivered strong results. My exceptional interpersonal skills have enabled me to build rapport with a diverse group of stakeholders and align each toward a shared organizational vision. How about that, right? Most importantly, my integrity is unblemished. As a financially savvy leader with demonstrated results in demanding environments, I have extensive knowledge of all the local governmental functional areas, and I am confident that I can make an immediate contribution to Portsmouth, Virginia. In closing, in review of my enclosed resume, you will note my growth and experience. What it cannot illustrate, however, is the degree of dedication, resourcefulness, trust, and resiliency that I can offer. I welcome the opportunity to discuss my qualifications with you in further detail. We had that opportunity to discuss her qualifications, and ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to my city manager, Angel L. Jones.
Whew. I forgot I wrote all that when I applied for the job. It's amazing what you put down when you're trying to sell yourself. So, but all jokes aside, I am so happy to be here and for each of you to take time out of your day to be here to witness what I consider a retooling as we move into our new normal. Now, I definitely prepared a speech, but you know, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. And so if I start to ramble, I'm gonna look to my notes to keep me in check. But I just want to say this. There is a lot of room for improvement in this great city. We're coming from a pandemic that has reshaped how we do business going forward. We have a lot of opportunities as we move forward to do things better. Now, the one thing that I've heard consistently since I've been here is Portsmouth is great, but there's always that but. And depending on who it is, I'm sorry, depending on who it is, depends on what the but is. But we're here today because this is a conversation that I want to have with you, the business community, because I recognize that you are the life and breath of our city. And we're standing here today in a united front. We have the mayor as the leader of the council. We have Mr. Bob Baldwin, who is not only the planning director, but he represents all the technical services, engineering, public works, all of them. And then we have our economic development director, Mr. Robert Moore, and we have Mr. LaVoris Pace, who's also a deputy director. So, deputy city manager, I'm sorry. But we are all here because we're all committed. We're committed to doing things to make it work. And doing that, there are going to be a number of changes. Some you will see immediately, some you will see over time. But one of the things we definitely wanted to do was ensure that we communicate better. There are a number of resources the city can provide that we haven't for whatever reason. The past is over. The future starts now. This is an open dialogue. The city, as the mayor said earlier, can't do it alone. We need to hear from you. And hopefully later in this process or this meeting, you will provide that information to us. So one of the things that I have on my desk is changing the perceptions, because there are definitely perceptions that Portsmouth, the city of Portsmouth, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I gotta get this mic since I'm trying to go ad lib here, so I better stick to the script. But the one thing that we recognize is that the perceptions are not the way we want them to be. And part of doing that, we have to do a better job. We have to do a better job on the front end in ensuring that every business understands their use and what those use requirements are. Then on the technical side, we need to be consistent in what those requirements are, what they entail, and how we move through the process. In addition to that, we're working with the city council to shorten the period. There's no real requirement other than our code for a second review. So we're hoping to move forward with that requirement, eliminating that requirement. So back to the perception. It is a daunting task, I understand, because it runs very, very deep. But I'm here to say today that we are not in the process of stifling growth. We are in the process of enhancing growth. And whatever steps we need to take, we're going to be taking them. I am going to walk hands-on through our entire permitting process to understand what is involved, to be sure that we have the resources aligned in the manner that they need to be so that we can be more efficient, that we can be more effective, and we can be more responsive. We are here to serve you, to enable you to have success, to enable you to strengthen our revenues, to do whatever you need to do so that we understand that we are partners. And I know one of the things I've learned in this city is to be a partner means you give. doesn't necessarily mean you receive. So I want it to be a partnership where we give and receive. So to that, I have some, Bob Baldwin's going to follow me as well as Robert Moore to talk more about specifics. But I just wanted to take a moment just to share a little about me. I came to this city, well, let me just back up. I applied for this position after spending a year at home in a very comfortable position, thinking that I was not being fulfilled. I was thinking that I had more to offer other than sitting at home drawing a paycheck. And one thing led to another, but my spirit said, why don't you serve your purpose? Why don't you do something that you can add value and not just get an income? And so this job announcement, one of my colleagues, who Senator Lucas knows, Miss Charlotte Wooldridge, sent me an advertisement for this position. And so I applied, and I was really excited about the opportunity because a lot of my experiences aligned with the position. And so I'm thinking, oh, this is great. But then everything started to ensue with the process, publicly, mind you. This whole discussion of the city manager appointment and who wanted who and how that was going to pan out, to the point where someone contacted me and said, "Are you sure that you really want to go there?" They're like, "I know your name is Angel, but as far as I know, you're a very mortal person. So, are you sure?" And my response was, if God opens that door, I'm going to go through it and I'm going to do the very best I can do because that is my purpose. So I'm not here by accident. All of my experiences culminated together, said, this is where I need to be. This is where I can make a difference. And it's my passion. So I have nothing else. I have no ties at all to this community other than to leave a legacy that it will be better than when I found it. And I'm going to even increase it a little bit because I think that we're probably hovering at a very low level right now. So I'm going to do more than make it better. So again, I am just so appreciative. I'm excited. My energy level has increased because this is a warm, welcoming group, and I want to keep it that way. Usually, I really hold the welcomes until after I've been somewhere for about 6 months so you can see some of the progress. But now you have to take my word for it that it's going to happen. But again, please hold me accountable. I want to have constant communication, interaction with you. If you see that there's something that I'm not doing that you think we as a city can do better, do not hesitate to give me a call and let me know, because we're going to work through it. We're going to make it happen, and we're going to change the perception, because you definitely have an angel now watching over this city. I had to throw that in there. So now I'm going to call up Bob. So he's going to talk about a few specific things that we're going to do. And then followed by him will be Robert Moore in economic development. And after that, I'll come back and ask questions and try to get feedback. If there are things that you want to see us do, then let us know. But thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just to show you how different everything is going to be, this is my first venture into public in 14 months. We've been totally virtual since March 12th of 2020. And so I have to tell you that from the perspective of those of us who are involved in planning and permitting and processing, so quite a challenge to have gone from where we were to what we went through and to what we're trying to do, come back on the outside of that. So it's a little odd to me to see people without masks on. So it's quite a different world we're about to move back into. So I'm just going to go back a little bit. I know there's been a lot of conversation about changes happened because of the pandemic. I'll go back a little bit before that. You may have forgotten we were just coming out of recession before the pandemic hit, and so we were trying to deal with that And when I came to the city in 2013, the first thing I was told is you got to do something about that zoning ordinance. It's terrible. We need to blow it up. Got to get rid of it. It's too complicated, too difficult. And so that was one of the first things we started getting into back around 2017. Really got into it kind of hot and heavy. And as you can also imagine, as we were moving towards final adoption of that, land uses for us just started to change like crazy. Things that we would have normally have had in zoning ordinances all of a sudden didn't make any sense anymore. People were moving from drive-throughs to just pickup. They were moving to all sorts of different parking requirements, for example, for people to wait to do food deliveries and grocery deliveries and all those kind of things. So we spent a lot of time going through that work. And so just a couple things I want to hit on just to show what we've been trying to work through. It's been kind of lost in some of the conversation, I guess, during the pandemic, but the city council adopted a new zoning ordinance. We completely threw out the old zoning code at the end of 2020. And so in February of this year, we have a new zoning ordinance took effect. And basically we took what was in 4 or 5 volumes of documents. We boiled it down into one document, pretty easy to read. So on our webpage, there's a PDF version you can hyperlink through. It's much simpler, easier. We also deregulated a lot of things. A lot of people may not have noticed yet. We stopped requiring use permits, for example, downtown for multifamily projects. And that's a big change because almost every, as I'm sure most of you are aware, trying to get a lot more residential activity downtown. That's really what's going to support the businesses downtown. There's more people living downtown. You've been, following the conversation about restaurants in Norfolk, for example. They say their lifeblood has been all the residential development they built in their downtown that's kept them afloat as people have stopped kind of coming, from out of town. So, the need for more residential development downtown, we deregulated. There's no use permit requirements any longer for multifamily projects downtown. So that's been a big change. We've taken away use permit requirements for drive-through restaurants. That's something I was just mentioning coming out of the pandemic. We used to require use permits. And for those of you who've been through that process or know somebody's been through that process, that's 4 months. So where people are trying to move along through the process, that's a 4-month delay. Every time we say you need a use permit or a rezoning, that's basically a 4-month delay, in addition to the expense of going through that. So we've done that. We've changed parking requirements. We've changed signage requirements. We provided all sorts of opportunities for people to come in and request modifications that might not have been allowed before, modifications to parking, to signage, just a number of things in there. We ran into a lot of non-conforming uses, and some of you may run into those things. We've found ways to create some processes for people to work with non-conforming properties. So we're very excited by the new zoning ordinance. We're already starting to see it's easier to use. I also mentioned we had to modify it to get the casino stuff in there. That was a bit of work for that, but we're very proud of the way we got our casino regulations put into our code to stay on schedule with what the city was trying to accomplish with the casino. So that's all in there. So where we are moving forward, and I think the city manager said it really well, she's looking at our resources. We've been short-staffed for as long as I can remember. We lost staff members right before the pandemic started. That, for example, I lost 2 out of the planning department, had 75 combined years of experience. And when people like that walk out of your door, it's not easy to replace when no one quite like that is out there available for you. So we're in the process of retooling. We are looking at all of our review processes, which she was mentioning there, making sure on the operational side, all the operating departments, working to get all on the same page, make sure we're all communicating better. And quite frankly, we're looking at what to do when you come out of virtual mode. This virtual world of land use is very challenging for us when people can't come see you, when you can't go out on site to visit them, when plans when early on we're quarantining plans coming into the office before we could even open them to look at them. So it's been quite of a change of environment for us working through all of that. And we're really happy to be coming out on the other side of that. Very excited to be working with the city manager and her interest in what we do and how we do it, trying to help us be more efficient, more effective, and quite frankly, to be better in our customer service piece. One of the constant things I get are people having a hard time getting information back in a quick fashion or in a way they might understand it. So we're working through all of that. So I won't go too much more detail. We have a lot of things like that we're working through. Very excited again to be back to getting the doors open to City Hall and getting back to sort of more normal type of business operations and providing that kind of customer service we all like to be providing as we move forward. And So, Mr. Moore.
All right. Well, let me say good afternoon. This is a little different for me because typically I'm the person that starts off, and I'm the person that's supposed to lead the charge. But I think it's about time that we shift the focus to the businesses as we should. I think it's about time that we focus on making sure that the customer service level is there for us. And our department, economic development, will do just that. I mean, we've heard this morning 3 different businesses say that they have pivoted and they have changed the way they've done things to make sure that they can now enter this new era of doing business post-pandemic. So now I'm very happy to hear and very happy to have our fearless leader, Ms. Angel Jones, say the same thing. We're going to retool, we're going to refocus, and we're going to make sure we do what we need to do to make sure that Portsmouth can thrive post-pandemic, okay? And economic development is going to do what they can to make that happen. Now, you've heard me say before all the things we've done in the past, and we've done some great things. That means nothing right now. What's important is what we're going to do going forward. We're going to add additional staff. We're looking to add about 4 more people to staff. So we're going to make sure that we're not only bringing in the new businesses, but that we're meeting with each and every one of the existing businesses here in Portsmouth. Our Economic Development Authority has been very laser focused on what they can do to assist us as a staff. They've put forward several amounts of monies to make sure that we have the opportunity to build the correct and proper workforce for your businesses and for the new businesses coming in. So if you haven't heard about our new initiative, Portsmouth at Work, we're providing free training and career pathways to our Portsmouth citizens to be ready for these opportunities that we're going to bring to the city of Portsmouth. You all should be excited about that. And at the same time, our staff, our office is going to step up and make sure we do what we need to do to be available. Our office is just up the street here. Anytime you want to come in, while City Hall, the physical building may have been closed, our office has not been. We have been open since March of last year, okay? We have made sure that we were here. We've made sure that when CARES Act money was available, we distributed that in a timely manner. And I don't know, a little bird told me there might be some more. So I say be on the lookout. So I'm not here this morning to talk about all the great things we've done. I'm really here to tell you that we're going to do better, even better than we have. So with that, I'm going to finish up.
Well, once again, I hope this has been productive, and I would encourage each of you to think about how you can individually and as a group really work collaboratively to improve our community. You know, we're here to help. The city government, as I said, our role isn't to be creative and be innovative in the sense that we create the opportunities. That's your role. And we're going to do everything that we can in our power to ensure that you have the backup support that can give you the most success you've ever dreamed of. We are, in the way of the chamber, unapologetically pro-business too. And we want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day today to come and meet your new city manager, Angel Jones. Thank you guys. Have a great afternoon.